Also, Barkha, this you mentioned this, and I think we should talk a little bit about this. For the mayor of New York
Yeah, I was
to,
coming to that. I was
uh,
coming to that.
I think it's
Zoran,
ridiculous, and if so, to point fingers to our judiciary. So the Americans do tend to believe that they are the salt of the earth, and I think with President Trump we are seeing a little more of that. But I think as a lawyer and an officer of this court, I take offense to somebody saying that, look, please make sure he has a fair trial, right? Because that implies that there could be situations where he will not get a free trial, which I think is extremely offensive.
yeah. I think I'm glad you raised this. I had opened with it and I was going to talk about it. And Susie, when the BJP, your political partner, has made a lot of sort of comments on this, not just on Zohran Mamdani's handwritten letter, the text of which you see on your screen, but also the fact that US lawmakers have written to the Indian envoy and said that please assure a fair trial. And Mr. Bilamoria says he's extremely offended by that. I want to ask you your thoughts. See, the fact is, I understand what Percival feels like. Who are the Americans? The Americans, Trump is showing that they really do think that they are the police of the world. That said, we live in a globalized world. Everybody comments on everybody. We have opinions, for example, rightfully so, on how religious minorities are being treated in Bangladesh. As offended as Mr. Bilemoria is, can you really close off the world's opinion? This is the reality. You're dealing with sections of, different sections of global opinion all the time.
No, the point here is not closing off. They can say what they have to. We can't put a zip on their mouth. But the
Yeah.
kind of publicity and the political party, especially the Congress party, tweeting, retweeting, and making a issue out of it. Let us understand, it is our legal system, our judiciary, the third pillar of democracy is undermined, and you are making a political taking political statement out of it. I think such statement by Mr. Mardani should be condemned. He has no right. Maybe he could write, but then to predispose, say that no fair trial will be given by suggesting that kindly give fair trial is absolutely objectionable. And all of us in unison, whether the media, of course, there you are also the fourth pillar of democracy, should condemn it, because we are well equipped to handle and our national security.
I'll
And
tell you
also,
personally, I have no patience for people of another country commenting on the internal affairs of my country.
absolutely, and you will always find Rahul
However,
Gandhi.
yeah, however, just let me complete my point. However, we live in a world, a globalized world, where everybody opinion is free. We cannot stop anybody from expressing an opinion. We have to deal with it.
Yes,
Yes, you agree?
our own political party is supporting it and making an
Yeah,
issue.
yeah, that's a different point.
There is no politics to it. The issue, Mr. Mamdani is saying, he seems to be the know all and be all of all that is right and all the things that are wrong.
Mr.
It does not apply
Mamdani is
that.
actually, from what we can tell, is talking about the bitterness not consuming Umar Khalid. It's US lawmakers who have written to the Indian envoy.
No, no, no. He's also presupposed saying that he should be given a free trial, and that he was suggestive, just falling short of saying that he should be given bail, just falling short. So therefore, all these things, I think none of us should at least give publicity or fall prey to it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
And why the Congress party is always found with such people supporting such people, I don't understand.
Sanjay, I want
Is
you
it
to
a larger
respond.
criminal conspiracy? Is it a larger international conspiracy? Gets you thinking. Especially what happened, a doctor was convicted in that bomb that went out at India Gate. Sorry, at India at the Red Fort.
Red
You know,
Fort, Red Fort.
so there is conspiracy. So therefore, we should limit ourselves to UAPA, whether, and rely on the wisdom of the Supreme Court. It is not once; it is time and again he has been denied bail, and when it was found necessary, he was been given bail to attend to the sister's wedding. So therefore, I think the honorable justices have opined in their wisdom and as per the law of the land.
Sanjay, Umar Khalid's father is said to have met with Mr. Mamdani, and this handwritten note was sent via him. He obviously probably thought that if people in the West raise their voice, it will create more of an awareness for Insan's case. It may have boomeranged. How do you see this row over Mamdani's letter, the US lawmaker's letter?
Well, Barkha, I think it's a complete non-issue. How our courts are much made of much sterner stuff. Our courts are trolled. Our judges are so bitterly trolled on social media in every controversial case. My heart goes out to many of them. They are very bold in dealing with that. The severe trolling. Even the right wing and the left wing, they get it from both sides, as you know. Being active on X, you know that. So if our judges can survive the bitter trolling of our own domestic Indians, a Gujarati NRI in New York is not going to affect the independence and the spine of our judges. But I just want to make a point because this is a very personal day for me, because I don't know whether you know, I was the lawyer who at 2 at night was in Justice Muralidhar's house when the order was passed in the Delhi riots case. I was representing the Delhi government, or rather the Delhi police at that time. And it is with the intervention of Justice Muralidhar's bench and Justice Bambani's bench that I got the police over there, and from his house the orders were passed to allow the ambulance to be passageway to be given for the ambulance to bring those people who were shot and who were not getting treatment. And the point I want to make is that all those people who were trapped there, because Susie Ben's comment that people were being prevented from access to medical aid brought this memory back to me. All those people belong to one particular community, namely the minority community. So therefore, it is amazing that we are talking about a conspiracy of riots, and we have these two student leaders are the only people we have found to place this blame of rioting on. And there's no other person who organized this, who organized the arms, who organized the violence. Where are those people from both communities? Rioting is not about religion. Rioting is a crime. It is the worst kind of human rights abuse in a country, and no one can stand in defense of any rioter or violence from whichever community they are. And whichever community they are, they have to be given the most stringent punishment. But are we doing that? Is there a sincere will of this government to go to the root of this riot and to even-handedly give justice to everyone? That's the question.
I think that's an important question, Justice Banerjee. Let me give you the closing word. You opened by saying that the courts were within their right to interpret the information before them in a particular way. But is it the complete story? And is it not the duty of the court to get to the full story of who was behind everybody? Maybe these two, maybe they will conclude that they were. But I think Sanjoy is asking, could they have done it alone? Where are the others? Do we know the full story? Will we ever know the full story?
I don't think our constitution or our democracy was designed to suit one particular segment. That's the philosophy of the India that I know, is that all are equal. I may have a different opinion, I may disagree, but my voice will be heard. Increasingly, over the recent years, dissent has taken a backseat. Dissent is not anti-national. Dissent is not revolting against a state. But dissent is necessary for even democracy to survive. And I'm slightly disappointed that courts have not been able to uphold the right to dissent and the right to have a contrary opinion. There, I'm very disappointed. From how certain journalists have been treated by, courts in a defamation action being instituted by powerful capitalists, or how courts have interpreted certain statements the wrong way. I think the court should be much larger hearted and much more charitable and open in allowing free speech and dissent forming part of free speech. There, I think we should do better. But last thing, but just about the thing. The next time an American tells you about justice and about their judicial system, just tell them Dred Scott, and you'll shut them up.
Tell us a little more. Our audience will not know the story. Tell us a little more.
The story is where the US Supreme Court held that a slave was a chattel of the white man and was his property.
Yeah.
Our Supreme Court has never done anything as horrendous as that, or even resembling that.
Barkha,
Yeah,
only one thing I want to add.
Yes,
Say
yes.
we are only talking about the accused. What about the victims? 50 people lost their lives. So at least there, we should also talk about their justice, their denial. I mean, 50 people, this was not a riot. It was not stone pelting. People have lost lives. So
On
therefore,
both
I
sides,
think
Meeran, on both sides.
no, that's true. But there is not a word about them. There's not a word about them. So therefore, I think it should not be only, we should not be talking about the accused, only the accused, but also the victims, those who've lost their lives, their families, the trauma that they suffered. So therefore, I think we should go beyond the two people who've been denied bail and also talk about national security protection and justice for the 50 people who've lost lives.
I'll give Percival the last word. I reported these riots. Some of what the victims went through is very, very vivid in my mind. I still have, all the footage, the interviews of the horror that ordinary people, the poorest segments of our city, actually went through. So I'm all for talking about the victims. However, there is a larger principle that Justice Banerjee has thrown up here, that right to dissent, the right to accept opinions that are inimical to us. And here, Susie Ben, I want to clarify, I'm not talking about involvement in riots. I am not talking about involvement in riots. There can be no right to be involved in riots. There is no right to be involved in riots. There is no right to incite violence. So I think we're all on the same page on that. I think we're all on the same page of telling the Americans to buzz off. I think on a few things we're on the same page.